Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today for Friday morning, July 15th, 2022. The man they call Meathead, the Beckett Cards Leaf Collecting, Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
That's right. It should be a new feature of the show. You just call in and I appraise your sports card collection. You don't have enough of that these days. I was always, I enjoyed my Beckett and actually still do. I actually am the proud owner of a couple of current Becketts, but I was always a big Tough Stuff fan. Tough Stuff actually published in Richmond, Virginia, I believe, but Tough Stuff, a now defunct publication.
This shows the age difference here. I was more into Topps, Fleer, obviously, and
he's
Upper
having
Deck.
His last match soon, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the guy. And then Upper Deck really popped off around the late 80s. Again, I was collecting cards right around the fuckface, Billy Ripken.
Yes,
Billy
you were.
Ripken. Yeah.
Yes, you were. In Upper Deck, I really think was the predecessor to, all of the special insert cards and special edition, because you had a very, very distinctly different looking card in Upper Deck. I mean, you had a premium looking trading card.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. I've always said that I play Madden Ultimate Team, and Ultimate Team is really based on card trading. I mean, that's that's really what it is. I mean, you get your normal packs, get your more expensive packs, and then you get your packs that might have an insert. Like you're going to get, maybe one, elite card, one, gold, and then 3 silver or something like that. That's really what it's based on. Now the game's gone away from it, but that was the Ultimate Team that I used to enjoy. Opening up ripping packs, finding something worth something, selling it off, ripping more packs.
You know what? We need to look into exactly what it would cost and maybe put out a limited production run of some PWR Today packs, huh?
Ooh,
with the fan base not love that, huh? Do some really, really rare ones.
Would love it. Yeah. I mean, we could talk to our friends, our sponsor. Matthew, who is the sponsor?
That's a Collar and Elbow brand. Right now, they produce apparel, but I don't know if we twist the right arm, or should I say elbow, maybe they'll print some limited edition cards for us. CollarandElbowBrand.com. Enter promo code LindaK. Right now, it saves you 10% off on apparel, but who knows? Maybe in the future, it'll save you 10% off on some cards.
I always got a huge kick out of pictures that were, in batting stances on their spring training cards, or, like I said, the Billy Ripken, where he had, his nickname written on the bottom of his bat. Go ahead, and folks, will look that one up.
Yeah, we could do that. We could make some error cards, like have a card or two where one of us is exposed or something. That'd be some fun. That'd be some fun hijinks.
Whoa. So let me tell you this. Speaking of exposed, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I'm watching the local Fox channel, Fox 6, home of the Green Bay Packers. And speaking of exposed, it was a tough Green Bay Packer loss, and they're doing live interviews in a locker room. They didn't look at their backgrounds. I saw, unfortunately, the entire offensive line exposed. That was a lot of meat packing there.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when you want to be, and you probably got shortchanged because that was before the day of HD. Imagine that on a flat screen.
No, that was the day before Manscaped, is what it was. Looking like a grub worm trying to escape. All right, thank you, Uncle Al, for the grub worm reference. Killer Kross says he and Scarlett won't be returning to Impact Wrestling. I didn't know that this was actually a story. I honestly had forgot that Killer Kross was in Impact before he joined WWE's NXT brand and became Karrion Kross. But he said, look, there's a lot of people there that, we're all friends. I'm glad for their success, but I don't see it happening. I had an issue here, maybe with 1 or 2 people, but for the foreseeable future, will not be returning. EC3 and Adam Shear are going to be relaunching and going on a 24-city tour with Control Your Narrative. I got to assume Killer Kross is on that card as well.
Yeah, and I mean, that's big news for them too. I mean, that is a much more consistent touring schedule than we've seen so far for the company. I mean, they've been, correlating with, I know they were in Dallas for Mania and correlating, running some cities, but I mean, that's...
they ran GLCW is what they ran.
Yeah. I mean, that's putting some boots to pavement right there.
That's right. Hey, let's talk about Dynamite from Wednesday night. Swerve in Your Glory, or Swerve in Our Glory. They won the AEW Tag Team Championships in the main event, right?
From what my TV told me.
Or did they? There is speculation that that title win is invalid because Swerve pinned the wrong man. If you go back and watch, Swerve may have pinned the wrong man. Now, I don't believe AEW is going to reverse the decision because, to be completely honest, their referees can't control a match to begin with, and it's just shenanigans.
Yeah. And I think at this point, if it is a news story, which it is, you acknowledge it and, say that the decision stands, and that will warrant the Bucks having a rematch. But one thing AEW has done, I mean, when you go back and you look at the amount, I saw a chart not too long ago, and basically the first few years of AEW, the amount of DQ finishes and the amount of countouts they've had, they are virtually non-existent. And a bait and switch or any kind of dusty finish like that does not seem to be in AEW's wheelhouse.
WWE news, there is talk, then it got shot out in a tweet and it really hit the wire quick, that the PG era of WWE is almost gone, that USA has confirmed they will be going TV 14 for WWE Raw. Now, there was talk that it was happening this Monday, July 18th, but that was premature. The network has pulled it back and has said there is no official date yet, but the PG era, just about gone.
Yeah, and, I was thinking the other day, like, what would first of all, I mean, the Attitude Era as it happened late in the 90s could not happen today, but what does a TV 14, in 2022 look like? We haven't seen it since 2008. What does a TV 14 to the product even look like in 2022? And who does that help? Who is actually being held back by a TV PG that could potentially thrive in a TV 14 era? There's nobody that comes to mind right off the top of my head. I think this is it's going to be a very interesting wait and see as to what this looks like.
Matthew, last night I watched Impact Wrestling for the first time in a while.
How did you enjoy the program?
The wrestling was amazing. I really liked the matches. I saw Motor City Machine Guns. I saw Josh Alexander in a six-man tag against Violent by Design with Eric Young and Cody Deaner and Joe Doring, and they had a great match. I also saw Honor No More take on the Bullet Club in an 8-man faction war. I mean, it was great wrestling. I really enjoyed everything I saw. Here's what I saw that I have no idea what the hell it was. Besides the penis ads that are still airing during Impact with Frank Thomas and Doug Flutie.
Fantastic.
What is the deal with Taya Valkyrie, and is it Rosemary, the one that wears all the makeup? What is, I mean, it might be their niche, right? Their niche. Who is it appealing to? Because I had no idea what the hell I was watching.
Yeah, I'm a little bit rusty on Impact. I have a habit of a lot of times not necessarily keeping up with the week to week, and then when it's one of their major pay-per-views, actually pressing the buy button. But yeah, I mean, that sounds like that's kind of been their moniker here for the last handful of years.
I mean, granted, they had the stuff with Matt Hardy, and what was it? The deletion, the ultimate deletion, and all that other stuff. I get that because they were out there fighting still and they were doing things, but this was just them walking around in a Matrix world. It was
so here's the other thing, and I think that maybe just a brief analysis of it might be when everything took off with that version of Matt in that storyline some years back. It caught fire and it went viral, and there were.
We told each other we got to go turn into this and check this out.
There were eyes on the product that they hadn't had in a while, and it was it was clip oriented. You would play
this was pre-COVID too.
Yeah, you would play your 7 or 8 minute Matt Hardy clip and text it to friends. I wonder if they're stuck in that loop. They are still trying to think that some of this stuff is what is going to get eyes on the product, and they're going to recapture lightning in a bottle. And the Hardy stuff, it worked, but I think it was lightning in a bottle, and I don't think you can base your weekly episodic television trying to recapture that.
And I brought up the COVID thing because this would have worked during the COVID era too, because, they were looking to fill time, because they were wrestling in empty arenas or empty warehouses or whatever it is. Impact has a crowd, and Impact is hitting the road. They had a bunch of cities announced on the show last night as well. They're doing 2 different nights in Chicago. They're doing nights in Dallas. They're, according to our good friend Linda Kay, they're going to be doing time down in Louisville. I know that Josh Alexander is going to be hitting OVW up. So.
Well, hopefully nobody will do time down there. Hopefully they can just come through and wrestle.
Well, I mean, if they're going down to Cobb County, Georgia, it's a hard time. Matthew, can we transition over to SmackDown for a little bit?
Absolutely.
What were your thoughts on Lacey Evans last week? But that's it's right there.
Go back and listen to the PWR draft special when I made the comment that it's impossible to make her a heel again. Like what in the world? What have they done, man? Like you really, those were very non-traditional WWE promos. Having somebody basically expose the trauma of their entire life to a national audience.
This isn't made up. This isn't a storyline. This is legit what Lacey Evans has gone through in her life.
And I feel bad for her at this juncture, not just because of everything she's gone through, but the fact that you put that out there and you just nix a face run. You just pull the rug out from under her after a few weeks. And I mean, I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure this is just them booking by the seat of their pants, but it's like, all right, we did all of that just so you can have this heel come out and say, hey, you respect me for everything that I've been through. I feel just nauseous watching this. I feel like that was put out there. Being put out there initially, hopefully it would have gone out to people who could have really used it and could have really gotten behind this person based in part on her life events and had a top baby face that, everyone, especially young girls, could have looked up to. And they killed it, man. They didn't give it time to do anything. This is, and we've said this, I've probably said this on this program a handful of times, like, this is some of the worst booking I've ever seen WWE do. This might be the worst booking I've ever seen WWE do. This makes absolutely no sense. And it's just a complete missed opportunity, in my opinion.
Even if this would have been against Liv Morgan, right? And she would have been now the top heel against your SmackDown Women's Champion. This wasn't. It was over Aaliyah.
Yeah.
They've done nothing with Aaliyah. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
And it's not because we don't care about Lacey Evans being face, heel, good, bad, whatever. We just don't care because creative hasn't done anything to make us care.
Well, remember this. You've got the vignettes on SmackDown, right?
Yep.
And then they popped up on Raw, like,
because she was going to trade brands.
Yeah, and then remember the rumors came out about her potentially being a heel, and we talked about this. We had this very discussion. It's like it makes absolutely no sense.
Don't. Yeah,
yeah, and they gave it a month or so.
Remember when she got thrown out into the ring, and we both said, you know what? They probably lost the time for a segment, and they just threw her out there, and she had to talk, and she didn't know what to do.
Yeah,
they are destroying this woman's.
Well, and here's the thing: I wonder, like, at Money in the Bank, she did not get a favorable reception. She was booed by that audience for some reason. And I wonder if this is a knee-jerk reaction to this, because she was out there on Money in the Bank, and they came out last week with that start and stop promo where she started her entrance several times. My goodness, this is bewildering.
So what you're saying is you're confused.
Very confused.
Well, we are going to get Ronda Rousey and Natalya. It looks like, Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan again at SummerSlam. Is there a chance that Liv Morgan survives Ronda Rousey?
It's hard to imagine they'd let the run last only a pay-per-view, but at the same time, I think you lose a lot with what you've got invested in Ronda if she's not able to beat Liv Morgan. It's a huge victory for Liv Morgan. But
you don't think that she's Teflon right now? Like if Liv Morgan finds a way, through hook or crook, that Ronda Rousey is still an MMA baddest woman on the planet?
I don't know, because the whole Ronda thing, you know, it is. It is not. I feel like Ronda on name recognition, the value is starting to drop in the fact that, I mean, these Ronda title programs have been rough, man. Like, because of the mic work, because of just kind of, an uncomfortableness with anything but in ring. I mean, in ring, she's very, very solid, but these programs that she has been in since the return, it's not, at least to me, a very compelling story week in and week out. And I think that right now, what she's got is her in-ring prowess and her being presented like a Brock. And my concern is if you have somebody like a Liv Morgan that really hasn't been presented strong, that has been presented in this storyline in a lot of ways as lucking into this, I think you lose something with Ronda. So I don't know how this goes, but I will say this. I mean, how Nikki ASH's run last year with the briefcase and the title, how that worked out. And I think they've got something more in Liv, and I think they know it. But there's a chance they've potentially booked themselves into a corner with this.
Good grief again. All right. Well, again, Liv, she's had the same promo now twice, and now she's coming back on SmackDown. She's going to have a match with Natalya, and I think that Ronda Rousey will be involved. It could end up being a triple threat, and then, it keeps Ronda strong if they knock out Ronda and Liv pins Natalya.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's and I think there's still money in Natalya Ronda. I mean, there's been a lot of, and I don't really pay a ton of attention to Twitter feuds, but there's been a lot of stuff back and forth between these two on Twitter and social media.
I don't pay attention to that stuff. Doesn't matter.
To the point that they're trying to put it over as a work shoot, whereas there's some actual beef. But I mean, I think those two match up very well together, but that might be the solution right there.
We've also got a match with Madcap Moss and Mr. Money in the Bank Theory, because Madcap Moss believes that the briefcase would fit in Theory's mouth.
Yeah, that's really not putting my butt in the seat. I don't really like them talking about putting the briefcases in various places. But yeah, that's. But I tell you what will put my butt in the seat. I want to see a new fashion line premiere tonight.
Right, because you've already sent in your video, right, for Maximum Male Models?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let us talk about Rampage, which will come on right after SmackDown goes off the air. The House of Black and the Dark Order will have a 6-man tag, trios as they call it in. Well, actually, I'm sorry, it's not trios. It's just a regular tag match. It's not 6. It's a 4-man tag. We will have Jonathan Gresham, Lee Moriarty going head-to-head. Bobby Cruz on the ring announcing again. Like I said, I mean, I tune into Rampage and I tune into Dynamite to see Rampage and Dynamite. You get Bobby Cruz. Let me guess, there's probably commentary from Ring of Honor as well on the. Matthew, your feelings on this?
Yeah, I look forward to some exciting in-ring action. I mean, it's the commentary I'm okay with. I think that the House of Black's doing some exciting stuff, especially with the addition of Julia Hart. So, I look forward to seeing the match.
Athena and Chris Statlander will have a match with Charlotte and Ramad and Renegade. And then the Gun Club and the Acclaimed had an in-ring confrontation. And we'll have to see how that one turns out. Could there be a rap? Could there be an Ass Boy reference? Also, the Lucha Brothers and Private Party 1-on-1 in a tag match. So technically it's 2-on-2. My math is hard sometimes. Matthew, we've got a lot of build coming up towards Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor, and I feel like it's going to take over AEW. Also, there's been talk, JR explained why he's coming out for only a half of the commentary and doing the hour on Rampage. He said Tony Khan asked him, because he's getting such a positive response. I don't know if you read this, that he said, there seems to be a lull after hour 1. So they bring out JR at hour 2 to pop the crowd again.
Interesting. Hey, it goes back to that theme music, and we talked about it on this very show, man. You just need to have that happen multiple times, man. Have him come out, go to the back. Have him come out, go to the back. Here's what you do, man. You keep JR really hydrated. Have him drink a shit ton of water and have to piss several times throughout the show. And so every time he comes back from using the bathroom, you pop the crowd again.
Well, he pops his bladder if he's going to drink that much. All right, Matthew Thomas, that is the week in wrestling here at PWR today. You know, we've got, I don't even know who's on what days next week. I know it's going to be moved around. I know we got people here and people there. I know we got White Castle sliders coming somewhere. We got all sorts of shenanigans going on next week. So make sure you're tuning in. For Linda Kay, for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you again Monday morning. So long, everyone.